Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tatiana. Today's topic is a little bit of a newer one on here. I have shared through just day in the life vlogs and different things that I am a homeschool mom to my daughter, and I really am passionate about this topic and excited to start sharing more about our homeschool journey here on this channel with you all. And I wanted to kick it off with today's video because I think it's so important for anyone, you know, whether you are curious about it, if it's something you really are actively looking into, or if you already are doing it and maybe you're new to it. I wanted to film this video just as a inspiring video for you, one that can give you some tips, some starting points when it comes to homeschooling your child, what that can look like for you. So definitely stay tuned if that's something that you are interested in. But if you are new here, my name is Tatiana. I am a mom, a wife. I am also a business owner, which is mainly what I talk about a lot on this channel, is entrepreneurship and helping women to get out of their own way. But there is a huge part of my heart that really wants to encourage women to get out of their own way and do whatever it is that they would like to do. And so today we're going to be talking about homeschool, if that is you, how you can get out of your own way to really dive into homeschool. First thing I want to touch on is that this video is in no way, shape, or form trying to say that homeschool is the only way. In fact, when I first became a mom, I never in a million years thought that I would be homeschooling my child. So it definitely is something that I have grown to love and learn about over the last 3 or 4 years. And I think it's important to just note that. So this is not a video to judge anyone. I am a big believer in people doing things that is best for them and their family, and most importantly, their child. I really wanted to make this video for anyone that is just truly interested in wanting to know, but I just want to make it known that I'm not trying to say one thing is better than the other. At the end of the day, it is all about what is best for you and your family. So let's get into the video. So number one, I think it's important for us to touch on just the legal aspect of homeschooling. Really means to homeschool your child within the United States. And I'm going to have a resource down below linked. It is the HSLDA website, and it has all of the information you would ever need and then some on homeschooling in our country. And for every single state, there are going to be different requirements when it comes to how to homeschool your child. So for our state personally, we have to do homeschool for 180 days around within the year. There's no set dates on when that is, but you do have to do 180, and you have to do 5 subjects: language arts, math, social studies, science, and composition or writing. And that gives a wide variety of exposure to, of course, everything that I know I learned growing up, and I'm sure many of you all learned growing up, but it is a requirement of the state. And so that is something that you want to look into for your particular state before you really do much of anything, because that will allow you to know before you get too far down the rabbit hole what your child is really going to need as far as curriculum, requirements, and just different things that you will have to do as a parent to make sure that you're in compliance with what the state needs from you at the end of the year, halfway through the year. We have a couple of reporting times as well here in South Carolina too. So I wanted to first just start it off with that there are definitely, as much as you may hear that homeschool is so free and flexible and all of that, which it definitely can be, you do want to make sure that you know what your state requires first and foremost, so that you're set up for success, you're doing things the right way, and you can just feel good and at ease knowing like, okay, I'm following the rules here, and we got that part nipped in the bud. Okay, so number 2 is there are endless, and I mean endless, resources for your child when it comes to homeschool. I think that's one of the really amazing parts about it, is that you can really cater to the needs of your child, and you can find things that they have strengths in and really lean into that and find curriculum that really speaks to that. And you can also see some of the things maybe they're not so strong in that will allow for you to work on it and find a curriculum that really fits their personality best, it fits their learning style best, and overall it just fits the makeup of the environment that you're trying to create. And one of the amazing resources that I have recently learned about is Power Homeschool, and I'm so excited that today Power Homeschool is partnering with me on today's portion of this video, because they are one of the leaders in homeschool online and the curriculum that comes with that. one of the things that is very important when you are looking for a curriculum is to find something that's going to be interactive for your child, something that's going to, of course, follow the standards, make sure they know the things that they need to know, but that really is a good fit. And Power Homeschool does a great job of creating an environment with online interactive videos that get your child to learn the concepts very to the point, very simply, and then they have little trackers and quizzes and things along the way to make sure they are actually retaining the information, which is always really, really good as a parent to know, like, okay, my child is understanding this. Their platform is super easy to use, as you can access it through their Acellus learning app, so on any of your mobile devices as well as on their website. And what I really love about it, it's almost just like any other video streaming software that we use. You get on there and it is right where you left off. So your child is never kind of confused or wondering where they need to get started. They get on and it's going to take them to the next lesson from right where they were the previous day or the previous week. And I really love that about it because it tracks not only their progress, it's going to track their scores. It's going to make sure that they're on par with everything. They have options to rewatch videos as well as retake the quizzes along the way. So that's another thing too. Like, I know my daughter sometimes she can get kind of frustrated if she's like, okay, I just missed one or I missed a few. So to have the opportunity to go back and retake it and really make sure you're getting the information, it's great that they have that feature as well. They have grades in there, and all of this can happen right on the student dashboard, which is wonderful. So she logs in, it's very easy for her to use and navigate on the tablet, and she can get started right away. They have curriculum for pre-K all the way through 12th grade, and it includes different subjects like language arts, math, science, social studies. I think there's a social skills one on there as well. And there's a link actually down below that you can browse all of their courses to see what all they have, especially as the grades continue to go on. Like I shared, that we are doing first grade, and so we've been playing around with their platform a bit, and Emery is really taking to it. She really likes the videos, and she loves the little quizzes at the end of each video, and it shows her right after she's done. You know, if you get 100%, you get them all right. And so it's that instant gratification. It makes your child feel really good to know that they are learning, they're doing well, and I love how easy it is for the platform to navigate. And then they also have the parent dashboard as well, which is great because there's some detailed reporting in there. So of course you're going to get your students' performance, their grades. You'll be able to see specifically if there's anything that they missed. So if you want to revisit something again, if you want them to retake a portion of a quiz again. And then it's also nice too because you can go in and customize the entire experience. So let's say I only want to do it on Mondays and Thursdays, or we only want to do the first 3 days of the week. You can go in and you can select all of that in there, and that way she knows what's expected, I know what's expected, and it makes it just easier for everybody all around. And one thing I also love too about them is just right on their site, they have information again about the state requirements. So they're right on par with what you need to know for every grade level, and that'll keep your child right on par with what is typically like the more standard type of schooling. And for some parents, that's definitely going to be important. For some, it may not be as big of a deal, but it's definitely something that they have available to you. And for you to have that peace of mind, I think that that's wonderful that they have that included in there. So I will be sure to make sure all the information about Power Homeschool's platform is down below in the description. And thank you so much to Power Homeschool for sponsoring this portion of today's video. And so point number 3 is that homeschool can be flexible in so many different ways. Like I just got done sharing about Power Homeschool, that is just one of the many ways that you can choose to educate your child. And that's what's great about it. So you can use it as your overall curriculum for everything. You can just pick specific subjects. You can also use it as a supplement. Maybe it's a complement to another program that you're using. And that is what is great because you can really cater to what your child is leaning into, where they might need a little bit more help, and honestly just overall what their learning style is. I know for my daughter, our kindergarten year, I had an opportunity to really see what subjects she loved, you know, what lit her up and what kind of deflated her, y'all. And that allowed me to then pick curriculum and make some different choices and find supplemental things to help her this year to make sure that she feels supported, and most importantly that it feels fun for her, especially at this young age. Like, I want to make sure that learning is fun for her and exciting, and that there's always something to look forward to when we sit down and get started with school. But the flexibility can come in so many different aspects. So first of all, time. When you think about school, you may think about just the standard, like your child goes, maybe the day starts at 8, they're done at 3. We will never and have never done school for that long. Typically our days right now with her being a first grader is around 2.5 hours. It might go to 3 hours, if we're really doing something or we're really getting into something. But typically it's around 2.5 hours, and then we have the rest of the day. So I think that's what's really nice, is just that it doesn't take up a lot of time in the day, which leaves so much more room for playing and exploring and expanding on topics. I can't tell you how many times we may have done a lesson within our block of school time, and then she wants to take it and run with it and continue to learn about that topic even later on, whether it's through books that we might be reading, if it's videos on YouTube that she wants to check out, documentaries, even just additional activities and crafts and things like that. So I love how we're able to then take the things that we learn and just apply it in our everyday life when we're out in the world, when we're doing things here at home. And all of that extra time leaves a lot of room for that. And also just the time of day that we do it. So you may be a parent that if you work full time, maybe you want to do it in the evenings once you get off of work. You may choose, or just that you like to do it in the evenings, right? You may want to do it on the weekends. You may only want to do it on specific days of the week. So maybe you only do it 3 days out of the week. You might do all 5 days. You might do it first thing in the morning when you all wake up. Every family can pick whatever works best for them. And I think that's what's nice, because you don't have to have a specific time to be there, if that makes any sense. Like, you can get started whenever, you can pause whenever. If we're having a rough day, I might decide to be like, you know what, I think we're going to go ahead and stop here. We'll revisit this again tomorrow, or we'll revisit this later, just depending on what it is. And I love having that flexibility as well, to just really work with my daughter in that moment of what is making sense for both of us. And it allows for us to just have a smoother homeschool overall. And other parts of the flexibility too is just like location. There's been times when we've done homeschool like at Panera, if we wanted to go and enjoy something to eat, just to change up the scenery. You could do homeschool at the park. You can go on tons of field trips, and that can be considered your homeschool day as well. I think that's what's nice about it, is like learning can look so different than just sitting down, reading out of a book, doing worksheets. It can be getting out in the world, exploring, doing things hands-on, going on fun field trips, and all of the different subjects are encompassed in all of those experiences. Think about like even just going to the zoo, for example, like how many different things you can incorporate into a day of learning for your child. Like, of course, there's science because you're learning about animals. There's definitely social studies. You can learn about the people that work at the zoo and what they do, and like the different zookeepers and the zoologists, and really get into the different career fields with it. You can, of course, do math. Let's count some things. Oh, how many cows how many lions do we see over there? Oh no, how many monkeys do we see? How many birds did we see today, right? If there's 2 birds over here and there's 3 birds over here, how many are there? So you can incorporate all of the different subjects in this. Reading, of course, there's going to be lots of signs and maps and just different things. So overall, I'm just saying that you can make it fun. It doesn't have to be like the traditional thing that we see. And so I love when we switch it up sometimes and we do different things. And I think that's what makes it even more special, because we don't have to always kind of like sit down and do the traditional. We do that a lot, but that flexibility is always there. So the next one I wanted to touch on, which I believe is number 4, is that socialization is not a factor. If I could get paid for the amount of times that someone says that to me, or I have heard that, I feel like I'm over it at this point, because I think that initially it's a valid thing to think, because I thought it myself and I was really concerned about that myself, especially having an only child, okay? But I really wanted to learn about, okay, obviously there are a lot of kids out in the world that have graduated from homeschool, me personally being friends with some of them, and they're fine, So I'm like, okay, what is this whole socialization thing? And so looking into it, doing my research, and now being a homeschool parent myself, I can really say socialization is not an issue, y'all, okay? It's only an issue if you make it one. And by that, I mean you have to be willing to be a hands-on parent. You have to be willing to take control of your child's social life, because, yeah, they aren't getting that just regular go to school and kind of like make friends because they're in the same class, they're together all day, and it just kind of naturally happens. You do have to create social situations for them, but homeschool is not so much of us just sitting here and staring at each other all week and me like keeping her in a bubble, you know, and all of those things. Like, she's out in the world, she's interacting with all different types of people. On a very basic level, she goes pretty much everywhere with me. So she's interacting with people of all ages, of all ethnicities, and that gives her an opportunity to just really witness the world in the eyes of what it will be like as she grows up, what it actually is like, right? But then she also has tons of social situations that she's in. So we have her in extracurricular activities. She does gymnastics. She does music theater. She also has a co-op that we go to pretty much every week. And co-ops are basically like a group of kids. Typically, it's a range of ages, anywhere from around like pre-K age all the way through high school, depending on your co-op. Some of them may be more specific to certain ages, but a lot of them are typically a pretty wide range. And we do a lot of things with our co-op. We go to field trips with them, we get together, they play, we learn, we do projects. She actually has a volcano project coming up soon for our co-op, and actually today we're going and we have someone bringing reptiles in and snakes and all that stuff, which she has been actually really loving a lot. And so there's so many cool opportunities through the co-op, and with that she's making friends. She's gaining those relationships, and she's getting to meet kids. And then she also goes to kind of like a hybrid school thing once a week as well. And that is also great too, because not only is she making amazing friends with that, she's made quite a few friends through that, but she also gets an opportunity to learn from someone else besides just me, which I definitely want for her too. So I'm very much intentional about her social life and making sure that she's out there in the world. And it's always funny too, because people like will be talking and they'll see her and we'll be doing things, and then they'll be so surprised when they learn that she's homeschooled, because she's so social, she's so outgoing, she's so energetic. And so it's just like, wow, she's homeschooled. And so it just goes to show that you as the parent, as long as you foster that as something important, as long as you put your child out there and give them an environment in order for them to flourish and thrive, no matter if they're homeschooled, no matter if they go to a traditional school, they still need that support from you in order to really grow in the way that you want them to, just to be an actual, you know, like a civilized person in the society, right? Like, we want to give them as many opportunities as possible. So I really wanted to make sure I touched on that, because I know it's such a big one and people are so quick to say that, you know, it's not healthy for children, but it really comes down to how you set it up, to what you choose to do for your child, what you open them up to. And I mean, honestly, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. There was people in my regular school that I used to go to, because I went to traditional school, and it was some kids that was a little questionable, you know, whether they were socially awkward. Maybe some of us thought they might have been a little bit weird, you know, and different things. I think that's just kind of normal, you know. So I think it's kind of always just like that little kind of always that thing of feeling like, oh, homeschool kids are weird. And it's like, no, all kids can be weird, right? All kids can have different things about them. Grown-ups can be weird. Grown-ups can have strange things about them. And I think that's what makes us all unique. But as long as you pour into your child in a way of the things that you value as a family, that is what is most important. Okay, so I only have 2 more points. The 5th one is that it is very rewarding and it is very fun. So I will first say, on the flip side of that, I am a person that really needs to practice patience, right? Okay, you know, like being a parent, it's very testing. It can be very frustrating. And there can be days where you just feel like, wow, like I have no idea what I'm doing, okay? And I think that is most parents out there can relate to that in some way, shape, or form. But what I have found is that through that, it really tests my faith. It really tests my patience. It allows me to really come out of what my expectations are sometimes and be willing to understand, like, okay, this is where my daughter is at. Even though I wanted to get, you know, all of these things done, you know, as long as we are connecting and we're here and we're getting this point, that's what matters to me in this moment. If I'm feeling like we need to get up and we need to move around because we're feeling a little bit kind of blah in the morning, then I'll do that. And so I think that it's really cool because like it gives me an opportunity to really get to know her a lot more, you know, get to know like what makes her tick, you know, what are her triggers, the things that make her the most excited. And then I'm able to use all of that data that I kind of gain over time in order to make the days better. You know, I feel like last year, it was our first official year that we were doing it for kindergarten. And it was just a lot of trial and error. Like we tried a lot of different ways that we did it. And then as the year went on, I started to really understand, like, okay, this is how I want to set this up. This is the order of how I want things to go, just based off of what she enjoys versus what she doesn't enjoy. And I'm happy to do more videos about like how I've come up with our schedule, how I got into homeschooling. If that's something you want to see, definitely give the video a thumbs up, because I'm happy to share all of those things with you. But it's very rewarding though. You know, you get to see the progress in real time. Like, it's very cool that we'll start a concept and it might be something that she's never heard of in her life. And then in just a couple of weeks or days or however long we're working on it, it goes from just this brand new thing to now she's mastered it. Or something that maybe she struggled with for a while and we had to revisit it. And it was kind of like, I was like, oh, I hope she gets this concept. And then all of a sudden she's killing it and she's doing it. And so it's like, it's me, I'm so proud to just be her mom and watch her just grow and learn so many things. And she is just, she's such a smart little girl. I'm just, I can't speak highly enough of her, of just like how cool it is to watch her learn and be able to be a part of that is really cool. Especially like, I think out of all of the things, watching her learn to read has been so cool, because she is very frustrated with language arts. And so that is one of those subjects that I learned early on. I'm like, okay, this is not so much of our favorite. But even with that, like, to see her fight through the fact that she doesn't enjoy it that much. And now she's like reading books, y'all. She reads to me and her dad. Most nights I try to make her read a book, and it ends up becoming something she enjoys. And then she's reading them on her own. And I'm just like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is the fruit of putting in this work, those longer days, y'all. Again, only 2.5 hours. Those longer days that feel like it's a lot longer than 2 hours. Those moments where I feel like, okay, is this the right thing? And then to be able to see that right in front of me, it's just, it's priceless. It's nothing like it. And it's also fun as well, because not only are we doing all the things we're supposed to do, you know, we're following all of the subjects she needs to learn, but we are not just sticking to the script. Like, I have curriculums that I follow and different things, but we're getting out there. I'm changing things up. I'm going with her personality. She's very much hands-on. She loves to, you know, touch and move things. And so I'm always trying to turn a lesson into something that we can make a lot more fun for her. And that really helps. Like, we're always in here doing happy dances and celebrating and just being silly, because it's nothing like just being able to make learning fun. And I think that that really too will just change the picture of school for her. Because I know even for me growing up, like, school was not like the most enjoyable place for me that I wanted to be. Like, I don't really have like these fond memories of sitting and learning and watching my teacher write on the board. And like, I don't have great memories of that. And so I really want to kind of like change that narrative for her to feel like, wow, learning is fun. Like, learning is rewarding. And even though I have moments of frustration, and even though I want stuff to be perfect, it doesn't have to be, but I'm still progressing. And that is what I'm trying to instill in her, is like, as long as you are progressing, you are doing amazing. And then my last point, and really this is just to bring it home, y'all, number 6 is that you are capable of doing it. There are so many things in life that will feel very unattainable for us. It will feel like there's absolutely no way I can make this happen. And for quite a few years, as I was really getting into homeschool research and talking with a couple friends that were homeschooling their kids, I had to really break down those barriers that I had, like within my mindset, the limiting beliefs within myself, in order to really feel like, okay, I can make this happen. And so I just wanted to touch on that really quickly, because it's a very real thing. You know, whether you are feeling like I don't have enough time to make this happen, but I do desire it. I have seen so many people that make it work, even people that work full time, people that only have one income in the house, people that are single parents. Like, there are people that are making it work if that is something that they desire and if it is something that's a priority. So that's first and foremost what I want to say. Like, if there's something that you feel is standing in your way, but this is really something that is placed on your heart and it's something you really want to make happen for your child, I think like anything else, there's always choices and priorities that we can shift, you know, in order to make something happen. And so I think that really anyone can homeschool if they make it a priority, if they make it something that they want to do for their child or their children. And that is just one of those things that I really had to kind of, get in my head. I was so ingrained of like, no, this is the only way. And so to really peel back those layers and start to fall in love with the process and really just be like, no, this is the route that I want to go for my family. This was the route, like when I presented it to my husband. And then, again, like not everybody is going to be getting it at first as well. And that's another thing I want to say. You might be fully into it, right? You might be fully ready to dive in. And you may have people in your life, if it's not your partner, it might be your friends, it might be family members that just don't understand, right? And that's the same thing I've even shared with like entrepreneurship. Sometimes you're going to have people in your life that just don't get it. And so that is when I encourage you to surround yourself with people that get what you are doing. There are so many amazing communities. There are so many amazing groups that will allow for you to just sit and just be a silent watcher, even if you don't want to participate in terms of like Facebook groups, for example, and just seeing people post and talk about what they're doing with their kids and the questions people ask. It will make you start to feel not so alone when you feel like maybe your mom doesn't get it, right? Or your grandparents aren't understanding, or you're trying to get your husband on board, or whatever the case is. I think it's just important to understand that we have to surround ourselves with like-minded people when we are trying to get into something new in order to have that comfort level, in order to build up that confidence. When it's something that we just simply don't know about, right? You don't know where to get started. You don't know how to overcome certain hurdles. You don't even know what this would look like in your life. I encourage you to get into communities. I think that will, if nothing else, that is going to really give you the sense of confidence that you need in order to really, pull the plug or decide to make this happen and give it a try. I think that it's important. I also think it's good to note too that nothing is permanent as well. So in a sense of like, your child can always go back to school. That's always going to be an option. That's never going to go away, but you can also switch things up. You can change a curriculum if you don't like it, right? You can decide to do something differently. You can try out a different co-op. You can try out a different learning style with them until you find what is best. And so again, kind of going off of that flexibility thing, if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, if I make this decision, this is it, and then I have to do it until they graduate from high school, it's like, no, girl, like you can change it up. You can do different things. You can take them to hybrid schools, where maybe you do some stuff at home, they do some stuff away. There's so many options, and so you are capable of making this happen. There's so much flexibility in this, and it's important to note that like you have it within you to make these choices because you know your child the best. And for anyone too that is feeling like, well, I'm not qualified or I'm not good at this subject, it's kind of the same thing. There's so many resources out there that is literally open and go, y'all. Open and go, just simply meaning that everything is laid out for you, even down to the script of what you say to your child. Those are a lot of the types of curriculum that I have. And I have it, one, because I don't want to have to sit down and lesson plan, but two, because I want to make sure that I'm saying things in the right way that makes sense. I want to make sure that it's coming across, in a certain way. And it allows the fostering of learning, right, to happen, and not so much stress of like, okay, well, I hope that I'm doing this right. So when you're doing your research, make sure that you look for things like that, especially when you're first getting started, to have things that are already set up for you and in place so that like, okay, I know I can open this book up and I know my child is going to get what they need for this lesson today. But also knowing that you do not have to be a teacher, in order to do this for your child. Even though there are teachers that I have seen, several teachers that have decided to homeschool their children, which I think is amazing, and it's wonderful that they've chosen that, but don't feel like you have to be a teacher. But also know, if you aren't good at math and it's getting to a point in math with your child where you're like, okay, these concepts, I'm kind of not really getting them, I'm not enjoying this, or I don't even have a desire to teach this, there are so many options for them out there in order to make sure that they're still getting what they need for that particular subject. So I just want to empower you that there is no better time than really, I feel like now, to homeschool, because not only do you have so much flexibility, you have so many options online, so many amazing curriculums and resources, free resources, groups of people, just overall the idea of it, I feel like people are a lot more open to it as well. And so it just gives you so much to look at and work with in order to find what really works the best for your family. So I encourage you, find a Facebook group to get into that's in your area. Even if you have not decided to homeschool, your child might still be 3 years old and not even in school yet, or they might be in school but you're thinking about it. Whatever the case is, join a group just out of curiosity. See what they're talking about, see what they're doing, what kind of field trips are they going on, what curriculums are they using, what are the struggles they're having. And it just opens you up to this world that you never otherwise would have known outside of just like your one picture that you have of what homeschool looks like or what it should be. And so I encourage you with that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you're a homeschooling parent, leave your tips and advice down below in the comments as well, even for me, because I am definitely still a new homeschool parent and I'm always looking for ways to continue to improve our homeschool experience. And yeah, so I would love to hear from you. But thank you again to Power Homeschool for working with me on today's video. Such an amazing platform for you all to check out if you are considering doing this, or if you're looking for different options online that can really just empower your child's education. Check them out, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.